Okay, so now we're going to begin really delving into my narcissist series, talking about my history with religion today. So I grew up in the church, and when I say that, as far back as I can remember, we went to church. Around age 7, my mom was working at the daycare inside a church. So literally during the day while she was working, I was playing in the pews with the preacher's daughter. We had turtle races. Like, I don't know, it was very lighthearted, fun, very safe environment. She ended up meeting her first husband there, Barry, and he was a very devout Christian, and he took it very seriously. So it went from being something like just kind of fun and casual to a way of life. We went every Wednesday, every Sunday, Saturdays if they had events, if they had a lock-in. I think we had where we stayed up all night, being kids, just like the youth group or whatever. I did Awanas, which is like Girl Scouts for Christians. And that's a very loose interpretation, but anyhow, did vacation Bible school, did missionary trips, did all kinds of things, like just church related. If it was church related, it was a go. I could do that. And that's basically all I did when I was with my mom at my mom's house. If we did anything, it was almost always church related. So thank God for Dad, by the way. Shout out to Dad for giving us the normal kid experience of camping and worlds of fun and, whatever, just the normal kid things. So I got a little bit of both worlds. But when she married Barry, it got almost where it was like, a lot of things weren't okay anymore. So where my mom wasn't like, no, you can't do that because it's not Christian. That didn't start until like 8 or 9 years old. So certain things we couldn't, like I stopped trick-or-treating at age 7. No more trick-or-treating, but we could do a trunk or treat at church, which you could dress up and get candy and basically do everything, but you weren't, don't ask me, I don't understand why that was okay, but trick-or-treating was not. And I mean, I got really, really into vampires. Like, I loved to read vampires and werewolves or some kind of supernatural type stuff. And he had problems with that. My stepdad was just not about it. And even I remember I was in love with Evanescence. Amy Lee, oh my God, she was such a huge part of my like early teenagehood. He didn't want me having their, what is it? I don't remember the name of the album, but their first big album, he fought with my mom about it and literally had to read through all the lyrics, and he wasn't okay with this, and this, but she talked him into letting me have it. So I was drawn to the supernatural. I was drawn to the quote unquote dark things. I couldn't wear too much black, because if I wore too much black, I was trying to be gothic, or I was trying to, look edgy, and my mom was not about that. So I had a lot of, I was very sheltered, I had a lot of restraints and restrictions, limitations, which honestly I'm not upset about, because being older now and seeing what everyone else was into at that age, and, with not having strict parents, and honestly, I'm good with it. I'm appreciative that I had this very wholesome, whether it be a little overzealous, hopefully that's the right term, it was a very wholesome upbringing, and it definitely instilled in me that this universe was intelligent. So, they picture it's like this God in the sky, and he's, he'll smite you, but after Jesus died, all of a sudden, now you can ask for your sins to be forgiven, and it's a loving God. But I was always conflicted with that as far as religion goes, how the early Testament is a cruel God. Serve me, worship me, or, beware. So I struggled a little bit back then, but of course you're not supposed to question. God forbid you question. I was always drawn to the LGBT community. And my friends in I remember middle school, started in middle school, my best friend was bisexual. I didn't consider it as a lifestyle because my mind wasn't even, like, that wasn't even an option, because you would just go to hell. You'd burn in hell. My family would ostracize me, like, but I was always fascinated by these people who felt comfortable in expressing themselves in that way. My best friend, Jenna, my best friend in high school, I was 15, I was a sophomore when I met her. And I'm skipping around a little bit, but I will say she was the first person who fully embodied, like, loving openly, and she gave me a lot of inspiration. But my mom ended up actually leaving Barry, the very super devout Christian, who's very strict, when I was 14. At 14, a radical shift from being like church and everything was a necessity. There was no debate. You read the Bible. I remember, like, during the summer, you need to read so many chapters of the Bible for the day. So it was like, instead of like homeschool, it was kind of like big, home church, where I had to read the Bible. And it just, once she left him, it was almost a free-for-all, to where my mom was a single mom. She had to work, she had to pay all the bills, and so I was in charge of raising my little sister. Not like full-time, but a lot of the time. Outside of school, my mom would work in the evenings, and then by the time we were in bed, she would get home. So religion kind of was like, mom was like, well, we can go to church if you want to go to church, but I'm not going to force you. It's going to be up to you, which was beautiful. So I still went to church here and there. If we found another church, we ended up going through 3 major churches that I remember. And it wasn't until I started hanging out with and or considering dating women that I ever questioned my religion. Ever. Once I was about 15, I've been friends with Jenna for a whole year. I ended up meeting, at the time it was her girlfriend. It was a very weird situation. We're not going to get into all the technicalities, but I ended up having my first crush on a girl. And my stepdad at the time, ooh, that's a sticky story. I'm not going to get all into the details because that'll be a different video talking about my sexuality and how I went about all of that. But once I came out as gay, or considered being gay, and dated women openly, I brought one of my exes from high school to church with me. And before then, everyone had been so embracing and loving, and they hugged me and they shook my hand, and they were just so kind, and everyone was so nice, and it felt so loving. The moment I brought my girlfriend, which I think, she has the same religion as me. I think, I'm doing right by God by bringing my girlfriend to church. All of a sudden, I was stared at with disdain, distaste. I don't know what the right word, but it was disrespectful nonetheless. Was literally just treated like I was a leper. Like, no one wanted to approach me. Everyone was staring and whispering to each other. And I felt in that moment was the first time I'd been like, what the fuck? Like, my whole life was raised believing this love, this wholesome environment. I was so pure-hearted. And then I bring my girlfriend from my pure place to my church. And I have goosebumps right now. You guys can't see, but and to have this radical shift in the way they treated me was like, really? Like, literally, Jesus preaches acceptance and love and to embrace the sinners, and I was floored, and I didn't give a fuck to go to church anymore, because I was like, hypocrites. Like, that, honestly, that is the biggest word that resonated with me at the time, of like, y'all are just hypocrites. You can sit there and preach it and say you're love, and like, I was heartbroken. I'll say that, because like I said, I had such a loving relationship with the church growing up. Besides it being a little bit of like a forced thing at some points in my life, but it broke my heart that because of who I chose to care for and who I chose to love and be and surround myself with, I was no longer regarded in the same respect. And it definitely made me push away the church. I didn't push away God. I did not. I still believed I was a Christian. I still, my mom had issues when she first found out I was dating women. She would pull out the Bible and she would read to me and show me in the Bible, like right here, read this, where it says I was going to go to hell. And she was so concerned for my soul. She wasn't an angry, pissed off, disgusted parent. She was complete concern and utter, like, I just want to save your soul. Please hear me, and it was heartbreaking, but it was also like, Mom, you know me. You know my heart. You know who I am. Do you honestly believe God would turn me away because I choose to love somebody of the same gender? Do you honestly believe that the God that we know and love would turn me away, would turn this, my good heart, my wholesome, my innocent little sweet self, would turn me away because I'm dating another woman? And she, at that point, she was conflicted. She was like, I mean, no, but yeah. So it's all I've known. It's all I've been taught. So I don't know how to think any other way. And so I just kind of went with that. I stopped going to church because I felt like the moment they found out I was openly gay, that they were going to ridicule me and or talk behind my back. And I didn't want to be around that. You fast forward a few years and I had what I call a mystical spiritual experience, which to most people would just be like, psh, psh, whatever, that's just, it was coincidence, whatever. But it solidified that no. Like, I believe in God, and there's definitely something more to this universe than just random chaos. And we just happen to be here, and there's no purpose to anything. And I'll do a whole nother video about that one particular instance that happened. And then so you get to the point where I'm 22. I'm working for chiropractors. So I started working at this chiropractic place. I didn't know anything they're teaching me. And at the time, they were very like energy and, kind of in my head, woo-woo spiritual stuff that I didn't know anything about. And one of the ladies that worked there, I wanted to do whatever she did, because I'm like, whatever she did, she just commanded so much power. And she's actually a spiritual teacher now, internationally. And no affiliation anymore, of course. But she's the one that kind of was like, because I was like, what did you go to school for? Like, how do you do what you do? Like, you're so intuitive. She knew so much, it felt like, and she felt almost otherworldly compared to every other human there. She just kind of, I just wanted to talk to her. I wanted to hear, what do you know? And she was like, I don't know, she pointed to a poster of the chakras. And I was like, that's real? Like, to me, it was just like old school art, like, some psychedelic, whatever, because I was very sheltered. She's like, no, yeah, that's real stuff, And it was like, for the first time in my life, she gave me permission to think outside of the box that I had been told what to believe. I'm going to try and wrap this up because we're approaching 15 minutes. So because I was like trying to figure out, should I go to, I thought I wanted to go to college. And she was like, don't take this wrong and you take it with a grain of salt, but I don't think someone like you needs to go to college in order to help people the way you want to. She was the first person that gave me permission, not only to believe outside of the box, but to think I didn't need to have a fucking degree to impact people the way I wanted to. And that was like, right? So she's like, go home, look up spirit science, because this is a decade ago. Look up spirit science, and it kind of gives you these brief introductions into everything. And so that started my 5-year YouTube, just like everything I could find online, YouTube, different platforms, podcasts. Like, I went down the fucking rabbit hole and I was in love, because so much of it would like give me goosebumps. It would like, when I feel something is true, it's like an electric feeling. And I was so intrigued by all of it. But there was a moment, the first couple months into looking into this stuff, where I really had to say, holy shit, I'm going to have to let go of, if I believe this is real, this feels like truth to me, but then that means what I've been fed in the past isn't necessarily true. It's true in a way of, So they say religions are like different paths to the same point, like the top of a mountain. So there is truth to the Bible and to the story of Jesus and all of this beautiful stuff. But I was turning my back on God. And I had this huge, major, like, throat clenching, not my throat, like, holy shit. Like, almost panic attack, thinking, you know, if I keep going forward, I'm going to have to let go of everything I know to be true. And if I let that go, like, I've been told I'm going to burn in hell if I question and or turn and look at anything else other than this, then you might as well go to hell. You're dancing with the devil, you know. So it was the most gripping experience that my soul had experienced, besides, you know, relationship stuff and like whatever. Like, that was the first huge internal struggle. And I was assured, like, there was something in me, whether it be God, because like my version of God, I call the universe. It's like the universal energy that is, it's aware, it's intelligent, it's all around, it's everything, it's in us, it's outside of us. I can go on about that, but we're going to try and proceed. But something inside me assured me, Kayla, trust yourself. Don't let fear steer you. Fear is not, it's helpful in keeping you alive, but fear is not going to direct you to your highest joy or your highest expression of reality. So I had to literally have something outside of me, whether it be a spirit guide or, you know, like the Holy Spirit, if you want to talk from Christian point of view, was just like, it's okay. It's okay, Kayla. We got you. You're loved. Don't worry. Don't stress. So anyways, so about 22 is when I decided, 22, 23, that I no longer identified as a Christian, and I considered myself spiritual, and that we all are on our own journey. And so I have so much respect for the Christian faith, and because it did give me the foundations of believing in a higher power and the goodness of people and this just wholesome compassion that I thought almost every other person in that church exemplified, if that's the right word. So it built so much good structure foundation for me going forward. So I do not in any way hate on or discredit or, you know, disrespect the Christian faith, because it gave me so much soul food early on. But at this now moment, it's definitely, I'm not telling you it's right or wrong, but it wasn't right for me going forward. So I feel like I have a more direct connection with the higher, call it source, call it the universe, with the higher power. I don't feel like I need to go through another buffer because I am unworthy of connecting to God. I feel as though God is within us. It speaks through us. And I say it because he doesn't suit me, he or she. Like, to me, God is of both, because we are in his image, correct? Well, we are man and woman. So, you know, anyways, so I definitely have a wildly different version of reality and God and what all that means to me. And I'm going to do that in another video because we're approaching 20 minutes now. So I'll approach or like dive into currently now what I believe and how I see things. But that's my history of religion. I got a lot of respect for it. It's just not for me. And I don't want anyone to think that I am trying to change anyone's minds, because if you don't like it, that's okay. It is what it is. If you feel like you want to question your faith, do so. If you don't want to question your faith, don't do so. Do whatever feels right for you. So I'm going to get off here because, yeah, it's 20 minutes long. And I'll talk to you guys later.